Hey everybody, Nicholas Snow here, and I'm feeling a bit shell-shocked. I'm recording this on January 27th, Monday, a week after the Orange Monster occupied the White House again and all hell has broken loose. On January 18th, Saturday, throughout the country, people's rallies were taking place. I was on hand in the downtown Palm Springs Park to document the rally that was produced by Courageous Resistance and Indivisible of the Desert. They have Facebook pages, both of those groups. They're combined here locally, and they meet every month in person, and they have lots of actions going on. So definitely pay attention to them. So I'm going to be bringing you the entire broadcast of that rally coming up. The good news is I bring it all to you. The other news is that the audio is a bit hot, which means it's slightly distorted. This is not something I can fix in post-production. However, you can comprehend and understand and see everything. The other thing I want you to do is pay close attention to the message that's scrolling across your screen throughout the broadcast, because I really want to be here as often as possible live at 5 p.m. Pacific to amplify voices of the resistance. And on days when I'm not doing that, I'm going to be working to preserve and expand my vast media archives of decades of multimedia entertainment activism. And also I'll be working really hard to create additional programming that isn't just political. So I have other programs that I produce, like Notes from Hollywood, Itinerary, Hot in Palm Springs, Higher Powered, historic episodes of Tinseltown's Queer. But the Snowstorm, my political hot topics show, is now dedicated to hot topics, of course, but particularly amplifying voices of the resistance. So we're all in this together, folks, and we must fight. Stay tuned for the entire People's Rally as it took place in Palm Springs, California, Saturday, January 18th, 2025. I'm Nicholas Snow, and I'd like to thank Willie Ryan and John Pascal, owners of 849 Restaurant and Lounge, for their support of PromoHomo.TV from the beginning. I was honored to work at the restaurant the first 4 years they were open, during which time I was inspired to write this. At 849 Restaurant and Lounge, sitting in the lounge area at a high top with a view of the Grand Corridor, the main dining area, is truly like starring in one play while simultaneously watching another, both with fabulous scenery and lighting, a gorgeous cast, fascinating characters, and exciting plot twists, complete with movie stars and paparazzi, not to mention fabulous eats. I call it reality dinner theater. See and be seen while starring in your own scene. Perhaps we'll have a scene together. Make your reservations at 849.com.
Hi, it's Brad Furr, a proud media sponsor of PromoHomo.TV, and I'm the owner of K-Gay Palm Springs and Gay Desert Guide. We just wanted to say thank you and thanks to Nicholas Snow for what he does. K-Gay Radio is a worldwide streaming service of great dance hits that you can listen to anywhere, anytime. And when you're planning your visit to Greater Palm Springs, use gaydesertguide.lgbt.
Ask your smart speaker to play KGAY.
Hi, my name is Matt Scalarud, president of Pink Media, and a very proud and long-term supporter of PromoHomo.TV. And so at Pink Media, we've been working with companies large and small, including destinations such as this, to kind of help them target and reach the LGBT community online. And so we've been doing this for almost 30 years. And what's more important is that, it started out with banner ads and email campaigns, and now we've morphed into social media and video, and it's all about storytelling. So if you have a story and a message that you'd like to get out to a very targeted yet broad audience online, reaching the LGBT community, give us a call or reach us at www.pinkmedia.lgbt. Thanks.
The LGBTQ Community Center of the Desert is the only Coachella Valley organization dedicated to meeting the diverse needs of all LGBTQ+ individuals. From our Palm Springs McDonald Wright Building to the Center Coachella, the Scott Hines Behavioral Health Clinic, and the Community Food Bank, our mission comes to life by making meaningful connections to resources and to community that contribute to LGBTQ+ people's health and happiness. For more information, visit thecentercv.org.
Riverside County, Coachella Valley, and every other state that joined us today because here they were and, well, they needed to be here too. So I met a lot of people from out of state and I'm very happy that they came down. And this is a home, this is the blue bubble. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So my name is Joy Silver, do you know me? All right. Better know me, right? Fear and anxiety has led to cruel and dangerous behavior. And make no mistake about it. In the first 100 days of that guy's regime, he is going to run shock and awe, and the whole point of it is to beat us into submission. Well, we won't go back. We won't go back. No way. How many people are tired? Yeah, I'm tired. I'm tired of the lies. I'm tired of the cruelty. I'm tired of people getting hired for jobs they don't even know the names of the job. I'm tired of loyalty being the only thing you have to get a job in the United States cabinet. I'm tired of fighting the same battles that we fought for in the 70s. Do I have any of my friends from the 70s? Look at this. We fought, we gained, and they couldn't take it. They're worried. They're losing their power, but we believe in collective power and shared resources because that is who we are. So this rally was produced, and you may see them all around here. This rally is produced by Courageous Resistance Indivisible of the Desert. And if you haven't joined up yet, we need you. We need you. Because we are going to stand and stand up. Because together we stand strong. That's right, we do. So we're going to hear from a lot of people today. We're going to hear about what they believe, what the issues are, what our values are, because that's what's happening. We're going to show courage, and we're going to show compassion, and that is how we roll. So our first speaker I call to the stage Aurelie Galvez, California State San Bernardino. She defines the future, a founder of Young Justice Advocates. I first got to hear her in 2020. She was a featured speaker at Enough is Enough, and I'm going to tell you, I have been inspired by her ever since. I introduce to you, Aurelie!
Miss Joy's a little too short for me. Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing today? Good. Perfect. My name is Aurelie. I'm 21 years old. And as an African American and Mexican woman, I know what it feels like to live in a system that wasn't built for me. I'm standing here today because I refuse to let that system define me or the generation or the future of my generation. We are not just here to witness history. We are here to change it. Growing up, I saw my family work hard to give me opportunities they never had. But for so many people, those opportunities are being stolen. Our schools are being underfunded. I've seen classrooms where teachers buy supplies out of their own pockets because our system won't. I've seen talented students give up because they didn't have the resources to keep going. How is it fair that the quality of our education depends on how much money our family makes or our zip code? And healthcare, please don't get me started. My family and I have had moments where we couldn't afford a doctor, moments where we had to make choices between groceries and medicine, and that's the reality of millions of families, especially families like mine. And now with politicians like Donald Trump, they're pushing policies to make it even harder for people to access affordable health care. It feels like they're saying our lives don't matter, but we know they do. Then there's women's rights. As a young woman, I can't tell you how exhausting it is to watch lawmakers, who are men, try to control what I do with my body. I do not want to live in a world where my rights are up for debate. I do not want to live in a world where my little sisters and my cousins and my future daughters grow up with fewer rights than I had. But that's exactly the world that some people want to create, and we cannot let that happen. These aren't just isolated issues. They are all connected. These policies, these attacks on our rights affect our futures. They affect my generation's ability to dream, to thrive, and to live with dignity. Every time they pass a law that limits education, that makes healthcare harder to afford, or takes away a woman's right to choose, they are sending us a message. Your voice does not matter. But here's the thing, they're wrong. We are the generation that doesn't just talk about change. We make it happen. We've done the protests, the movements. We know the power of standing together and saying enough is enough. We've seen how voting, organizing, and speaking out can change the shift course of history. So I'm here today because I believe in that power. I believe in us. We do not have to wait for someone else to save us. We can save ourselves. So let's do it together. Let's fight for better schools, for better health care, for the right to choose for our own body. Let's register to vote and show up at every election. Let's call out the leaders that betray us and support the ones who stand with us. Because some people witness history, but us, we change it. Thank you.
You gotta feel good when you see that and hear that, right? Come on. They know where it's at. He was born in Mexicali, Baja California, grew up in the vibrant Coachella Valley, developing a strong connection to the community, and a deep understanding of its needs. He is on the board and serves as treasurer for the Deserts Recreation Foundation. Please help me welcome Andres Cornell. Andres! Woo!
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And I just want, before I start, say thank you to Joy, her team, for organizing this, to all the volunteers that put this together. They deserve a round of applause for giving us this space. So I'm here to speak about immigration rights. As I was born in Mexicali, a land way different from Palm Desert, California, where I actually grew up, this is what my parents wished for. To be able to speak and to voice my thoughts in a city like Palm Springs, where look around you and at all of the beautiful people that we have here today. A lot of other countries don't support the same viewpoints and the ability to gather. So for that, we are doing the right thing. Thank you. So as we celebrate America as a nation of immigrants, as a land of opportunity, we must reflect on democratic values of inclusion and fairness. We need to highlight the importance of finding balance and practical solutions to immigration. But what we also need to do is hold our elected officials accountable. Whether Democrat or Republican, they need to be able to voice what they believe in and not just not vote and not register a vote because of the potential political fallout. And for that, we all need to keep our elected officials accountable and make sure what they do and what they support is out in the open. Immigrants like my parents have built a business and now they are able to retire because of it. That is what America was founded on, and that's what America needs to continue to support. The economic contributions that immigrants bring to this nation is bright, and it needs to continue to be supported. Whether that means filling the labor force, whether that means creating businesses, whether that means creating more cultural opportunities, immigrants need and must be supported in order to make that happen. In November, from Washington to Florida, America made a decision. And while we might not all agree on the decision the nation made, what we can do is make sure that we mitigate any losses and we work together as a nation and bring us back together. Whether that means mitigating losses, whether that means making sure that policies that we might not agree on the face of it, that we're able to work together to make sure the application of it continues to support what we all are used to. In closing, while we still must find bipartisan solutions to immigration and find balanced solutions, what we can do right now is make sure that we vote, make sure that in any opportunity where we can say, I want this person over that one, that we're able to pick our representatives and make sure that they work for the people, not special interests. Thank you.
Andres! Before she became one of California's leading activists, she was raised in the military, attended Florida Atlantic University, and worked as a flight attendant for 24 years with United Airlines. She served as the Legislative Affairs Chair for the Association of Flight Attendants, ran for Congress in 2002, and 2008, she was part of the team that opened the Democratic headquarters of the desert. She remains its political director. I bring you our own Ellie Kay.
Well, that's an opening. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. This is amazing, and Joy and so many people. Becky Robinson, where are you? And just everybody that has been participating, Emily and so many others. This is amazing today. I was a flight attendant for 34 years. And recently about a year ago, I saw a documentary that changed my way of thinking of what flight attendants, we used to be called stewardesses, what we did. What did we actually do in this country? And what we did is we were the first feminists. We were the ones that said, I am not going to quit flying at age 32. I am going to get married if I want to, and to whom I want to. I am going to have a child if I choose to do so. And you're not going to tell me I can't do it. So they kept trying. So we developed a union. Right now, the Association of Flight Attendants is the largest, most productive union for women in the country. And the reason is because we said enough is enough. I have to quit at age 32, but that pilot in that cockpit handling this $100 million airplane, he can stay until he's 60. I don't know about you, but I got a problem with that. I don't play games. Those of you who know me, I don't play games. I joined my union because of Ronald Reagan. I joined it because he said that PATCO couldn't strike. Well, guess what happened? It was the flight attendants who said, Mr. Reagan, up yours. In the last time that this guy that's now going to be going into the White House, the last time he shut down the government, remember that in his first term? Yeah. You know how fast he came back online? Because Sarah Nielsen, the president of the Association of Flight Attendants, held a press conference. And at the press conference, she had the mechanics, and she had the pilots, and she had reservation people, and she had the flight attendants, and she said, Mr. Trump, get this government back to jobs now, or we're not flying tomorrow. Guess what? We were back to work the next day. We talk about feminism. And I want to give a shout out to the men who have been with us. Because when flight attendants, and as I say, we were the students, we were cute and perky. Can you imagine me ever being cute and perky? Give me a break. But the point I'm making is this. We went to the pilots and we said, look, we need a union. And so they said, okay, you can join us. Well, that lasted about 2 years because what was happening was the pilots would get their contract and whatever was left over we could have. So what we did is we organized, we came together, we did what we had to do, and we developed the Association of Flight Attendants. We then went to the companies. We went to United Airlines and American and TWA and Pan Am and Eastern and all these companies, and we said, you're not going to do this to us anymore. Enough is enough. We want our own rooms. We want the men to stop, supervisors to stop touching our butts to find out if we have a girdle on. We want you to stop running your hand along our back to see if we're wearing a bra. We want dignity. We want respect, and we demand it because we've earned it. Feminism is not just about being a female. Feminism is about coming together, men and women, and saying enough is enough. We know what happened in November. We got it. We probably cried the next day. Some of you may still be crying. But you know what happens when we come together? Oh, hell breaks loose. That's what's going to happen. We're going to keep an eye on this guy. He's not going to have any clue how much of an eye we're going to have on him. Because we're going to stop him, we're going to fight him, we're going to expose him. We can do this together. Feminists, flight attendants, pilots, mechanics, people, humans, we can do this together. I thank you for the time that you've given me.
That's why we call it the People's March, the People's Rally, the Women's Rally. We are all together and we will stand together. She retired in 2009 after 39 years. You hear what I'm saying? 39 years with the Los Angeles Unified School District. And she's still standing. This included serving as an elementary vice president of United Teachers Los Angeles. Do I have any teachers out there? Oh yes, we do. A longtime member of the courageous resistance Indivisible of the Desert and dedicated to registering voters in the Coachella Valley, I bring you Becky Samaroff Robinson. I have to tell you how absolutely phenomenal you all look. Please give yourselves a round of applause because you deserve it for being here, for showing that you care about our country. I was on Facebook a couple of months ago, and there was this wonderful essay by a man named Brendan Malafronte. This is what he said. I just realized something. In the movie The Wizard of Oz, not Wicked, The Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch wanted Dorothy's slippers because they must have been very powerful. Glinda, the Good Witch, told her so. The Wicked Witch has all the power, but she fears what those slippers could do. The witch, however, couldn't remove the slippers from Dorothy's feet herself. However, Dorothy could have given up the slippers to the witch instead of risking her life, the life of her friends, and going through all of what she had to endure in the face of insurmountable evil. The message: they can't take your power, your ruby slippers, unless you give in and give them up. Do not take off the ruby slippers. Keep your friends one step at a time. Follow that yellow brick road, even if it's more beaten to hell like in Return to Oz, because let's face it, that's the Oz we're in right now. Maybe in the end, way down the road, humanity will find its brains, its heart, and its courage again. But the second part of it is that Dorothy, the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow were a union, working together for a common goal, to make things better for absolutely everyone. And even if you have not been in a union, even if you thought you didn't like a union, even if you don't want to be in a union, I want to tell you this: people like you and me and all the workers walking around together got us this. You like your weekend? Thank the labor union. Overtime pay, an 8-hour workday, a pitiful but minimum wage, better here in California, paid vacation, sick days, safety standards, child labor laws, health benefits, retirement security, and unemployment compensation. Every one of those was gotten from people like you and me walking the streets with their picket lines and saying, enough is enough. We're not having kids at 6 years old working. We're not working 12 hours a day, and we're going to have a weekend to spend with our family. So tell me, are you going to give up your ruby slippers? No! I don't think they can hear you in Washington. Are you going to give up your ruby slippers? Fabulous. We'll all do this together. We are one big human union of all of us. Thank you. I gotta tell you, a special guest just stopped by. The Lieutenant Governor of California, Lenny Kounalakis, is here to talk to you about what is happening in California. Thank you, Joy. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Are we ready to fight for California values all across the nation? That's right. So I'm Eleni Kounalakis, Lieutenant Governor of California, and if I can also just share on a personal note, Palm Springs is my favorite place in the entire state of California. I mean, look at this, look at where we are, and aren't we so grateful in this, again, 8 years later, deja vu all over again, very, very challenging time. To be able to just draw the lens back and realize how fortunate we are to be here with each other, to be in this incredible city that's always been on the cutting edge of love and joy, and to know that here in the state of California, we are going to lock arms, we are going to protect our values, we are going to fight for our people, and we are going to push back at anything and everything this administration throws at us. Am I right? Yes. And we know we can because we did it before. We did it 8 years ago, and we will do it again. And, I'm with some friends of mine, and we were chatting about it this morning, that 8 years ago was so hard. Every day was just agonizing. We don't have 4 years to agonize. But what we do have is time to do what Nancy Pelosi, our great speaker emerita, always says: don't agonize, organize! And that's what we're going to do, because we don't know what they're going to do. We know sometimes they do what they say, sometimes they're crazy threats, and they just try to get us running around chaotic. We are organized. We are ready. We are going to protect our people in the state of California. That means the LGBTQ community. That means working families. That means women. That means immigrants. All of us. And we have the tools and the power to do so. So thank you all for being out here. Thank you for the solidarity for each other and for all those people who we know this administration is going to go after. We know that that's going to happen. But we also know that we can fight back. We can do it again. And in 2 years, we have an election. And in 4 years, we have an election. We're going to organize, and we are going to be ready. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Joy. I love you, Joy. Let's hear it for Eleni Kounalakis. Oh, yes. She's fighting hard for California, and we won't go back. That's right. Our next speaker is a 27-year career educator and president of Coachella Valley Teachers Union. She considers herself to be a transformational leader and a social justice warrior. We have any other social justice warriors out here? Before I bring her up, I gotta make one comment. Hate will never make us great. Hate never made any nation great. I'm looking at that because I'm tired of the cruelty. But in this crowd, we have compassion. In this crowd, we lift up everyone together because it makes it better for all of us. So, Carissa, you're on.
Not sure how this goes. Okay, good morning, everyone. Today I want to share my thoughts about the importance of all of you getting involved in local political races, the smaller ones that we tend to ignore, like school board races, and supporting the local unions within those school districts. As you know, the local unions are fighting for better working conditions for their employees, but also better learning conditions for those students. Most people recognize that city, county, and statewide races are something to pay attention to, but sometimes even teachers themselves don't see the significance of paying attention to what the school boards are doing and who gets elected to those trustee positions. People don't pay attention sometimes unless it pertains directly to themselves. The students' parents rarely get involved either, and instead just trust that everyone has their children's best interests at heart. Those of you without children in our schools, the community members, the business owners, it's very rare that they pay any attention at all. This needs to change, and everyone needs to hold all elected officials accountable, not just those at the city level or higher. It may surprise you to know that many political candidates begin their careers as school board trustees. Often when you see a new city council candidate, they really aren't new. They've had a political career already, maybe on a school board, a water district, a health district, a recreational district. They've been developing their skills for years without being watched or held accountable at all. Don't forget, though, that the work they do on those types of boards affects each of you. The quality of services available to the residents, the quality of the schools within your cities. Good services and good schools can drive up the value of your homes, but more importantly, schools educate the future adult citizens of your cities. And all decisions that affect the quality of the education those students receive is made by those school board trustees. They make these decisions more often than you might think without any input from parents or community members. In fact, they were probably elected without most voters taking the time to even know who they are and what they stand for. Our local school boards oversee budgets of more than $300 million, some more than $400 million. Public funds, tax dollars. Why are we letting them make decisions with all of our money without any input from their constituents? You may have heard about the CVUSD school board. Several of our trustees are reckless with that money, and they hire people who are also reckless with it. They prefer to hold public comments often after 7 p.m. or even as late as 10 p.m. when parents need to be home tucking their kids into bed and employees need to be home doing the same. We almost never see community members at these meetings. We do see union members, educators, other staff. I know that I, as president of our teachers union, try to get as many people to these meetings as I can. But it's hard to convince them to give up their personal time when corrupt or ineffective individuals continue to get elected and re-elected by a community of people who don't pay much attention. Your local teachers unions need your support and your involvement. Help us hold these elected officials accountable. Pay attention to those school board elections and the board meetings. Attend if you can and reach out to the unions to see how you can help. You'll soon see that a longtime board member with a track record of hating staff and a personal agenda not in the best interest of students will eventually run for city council or county supervisor or even the assembly. And if you haven't been involved and haven't paid attention, you wouldn't know that they aren't the best person for the job. You have the ability to shape your communities along with future politics by getting involved at the lower levels of elected officials. Get to those school board meetings and pay attention to who the unions endorse in those elections. Better yet, consider running for school board. Your voice matters, and it's time for it to be heard. Thank you.
Now, I know we have some people on the school board all the way from Marietta. Where are you? Where are you from the other side of the hill? There they are. You want to talk about a tough time? I see you. And we are so proud of you for standing up against those majorities and making sure that the kids learn something and learn something about democracy. And we're proud of you, and we know that the battles themselves are right at those school board levels. Yes, they are. Let's hear it for the teachers and the teachers' unions and the boards. She's a licensed social worker with roots in New York City in social justice and progressive activism and protective activism. Look at that. That too. Progressive activism. She was there at 2017 in Washington, D.C. Women's March. How many people were there? Yes, it wasn't a march, it was a stand, right? That's right. And that was in protest of the new Trump administration then. She has a passion for health care and women's issues and has been fighting for rights and liberties of others ever since. My friend, Jamie Trachtenberg.
Hi, Palm Springs. Thank you so much, everybody who turned out near and far. I'm here to enlighten you about what to expect in healthcare in the second coming of Donald Trump's administration. I can stand here probably for hours and go over everything that can go wrong, but there are some things that we know for sure are going to happen. To speak specifically about what I do every day, I'm a psychotherapist, is the concerns around eliminating telehealth or curtailing the accessibility that Medicare will pay and insurance will then follow suit on telehealth, which has been a tremendous opening for people getting mental health across the country and certainly in the state. I would say that 95% of my practice is across the state of California. So with the loss of that, people will lose the very vital access to mental health care that we need. And we know that's a growing epidemic in this country, which will, of course, be exacerbated by the new administration. There are talk of limiting and trying to go after the ACA and making changes to the Affordable Care Act, narrowing the opportunities for enrollment to, again, pull millions and millions of people off of the rolls, thereby also burdening the healthcare system on a local level, people who cannot get care, people who don't afford it or can't afford it because of the loss of the ACA benefits and also the savings that the ACA does provide. There will be a removal of LGBTQ protections as it relates to the Affordable Care Act. Reproductive rights, we all know that Donald Trump is taking credit for overturning Roe, and so those policies have resulted in obvious limits or complete elimination of the ability to have abortion in 26 states, I believe, in the country. And there are lots of quibbling about gestation periods, and some states are down to 6 weeks. So people are dying because of these rules and doctors being afraid to even doing things that or seem to be the most obvious. He has said that he believes in exceptions in the cases of rape, incest, and the life of the mother. However, he's not made any stand that he's going to stick to that. There are issues around enforcing the Comstock Act, and that is with regard to mifepristone, which is a medical abortion. Right now, that is probably about 85 to 90% of the abortions that are had in this country. And by limiting that, that would seriously tax and overburden our poorest women in this country who cannot get health care and cannot afford the extra burden that it would put on their lives. So that is still something that is being reviewed. Sorry, we have a lot. The issues around pregnancy-related emergency care. There is a provision that doctors should be able to, in hospital settings and STOBs, help to save lives when people are bleeding. Women are bleeding, but they are now looking to stiffen requirements for hospitals so that they will not treat, even though Joe Biden's administration had issued guidelines about enforcing abortion-related care, should this happen. That will all go backwards under Donald Trump. Elimination of the data and research that is necessary to help us move further with medications and procedures. And they are going to start to limit that around abortion and fetal tissue and stem cell. So that is something that has been named in 2025. Okay. And the last thing is misinformation. There is a lot of misinformation out there. So please do your research and don't go off believing everything that you necessarily read, because the administration is purposely putting out misinformation and repeating it so that people do not get and follow up on care and look at what is available to them. So there is a lot to talk about, not enough time, as I've just been told. So I thank you very much, and just keep fighting, because we've got 4 years that we're going to be showing up here.
And so we will keep on showing up and keep on studying. They will not silence us. He enlisted in the Army on December 7th, 1997, and was stationed overseas in Korea for 2 years and in Germany for 3 years. He went to Iraq in April of 2003 to conduct combat operations. He ended up on the wrong side of multiple explosions in Iraq, and then he retired from the Army on December 9th, 2018, after serving 21 years and 2 days. Please help me welcome retired Fire Captain and Army Sergeant First Class Vincent Leon Scott.
Good morning. I would like to welcome our thank you, Courageous Resistance, for inviting me. Also, Chief Mills, thank you for the Palm Springs Police Department support this morning. We do appreciate that. Like she said, I am a combat operations or a combat veteran. I use the Veterans Administration for my medical care. The last time that this person was in office, he tried to shut the Veterans Administration down. His excuse was, we're sending too much money to Mexico. When I was an Army recruiter, when we would have an immigrant that wanted to join the military, we promised them citizenship. Guaranteed citizenship. Unfortunately, that didn't always happen. So when they would come out, we'd have people like him that would kick them out of our country. So the Veterans Administration is required to pay for my disability, my health care, for the rest of my life. If I'm in Mexico, they're sending that money to Mexico. There's no excuse for that. I have to use the VA. There's no question behind it, because I have specific requirements that doctors in the civilian world cannot or will not ever understand. He wants to remove the ability for me to go to the Veterans Administration. He wants to privatize it. The Veterans Administration did a research project several years ago. The privatization of the VA would cost us billions. And the health care that I would receive would go from here to back there somewhere in the Stone Ages. It's already taken effect. I had to go to the Eisenhower just 2 days ago. They refused to see me because they could not verify my insurance. I do not have insurance. I have a card from the VA that says, you are my contractor, you will see me. I had to drive to Loma Linda to be seen by the VA. That's unexcusable. We cannot continue to send young men and women, there's a point I'm going to say here, to combat and then bring them home and send them to the woods. Because we have people sitting in the White House that make a promise and they better keep it. When George Bush made that promise and sent us to Iraq, he meant it, and he has regretted it to this day. Unfortunately, he can't take that back. When I lost my cousin in Iraq in November of 2003, I'd already been medevaced out. He was the crew chief on the Chinook that was shot down, bringing all the 56 soldiers into Baghdad to go on leave. Our family did not celebrate Christmas or Thanksgiving since that day, and we will never do it again. I've lost soldiers to mental health issues. I've lost soldiers to combatants. It doesn't make any difference which one I lose them to. I've lost them. The VA has a massive hole for mental health, and we must help every single person who has went to any combat zone. Vietnam, Panama, Grenada, the first Gulf War, the second Gulf War, my war, and all of the stuff that we're doing today. We have a radical side in the military right now that believes everything that this person that's about to take our office has said. I will support the defense of the Constitution of the United States and every one of you for my last dying breath. It is against the law for us to attack Canada, Mexico, Newfoundland, or Panama, or Greenland. Those countries have rights. You don't have the ability to just say, I'm going to go take this because I want it. I mean, I've been to doctors for mental health, and I think this one needs to go see a mental health expert. I thank every one of you for coming out today. Thank you for everything that you do for us. On behalf of all the veterans of the United States, thank you.
Do we have any veterans out there in the audience? Yes, we do. Are you with this sergeant? All right. All right. All the way. Our next speaker is a journalist, author, actor, radio and TV host, singer-songwriter. He does them all at once. LGBT rights activist and a world-renowned, openly gay, openly HIV-positive advocate for HIV testing and safer sex, Mr. PromoHomo himself, Nicholas Snow.
I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to thank the Courageous Resistance and Becky and Joy and everyone for being here. I'm here to speak to you about the importance of independent media. And but before I do that, you know, my last name is Snow, and one of the things that I like to say is over 6 feet of snow has hit Palm Springs. And as an independent journalist, I have been able to show up at places that a lot of people don't. For example, I know practically every lesbian in town because I really show up for their events. And but that made me an honorary lesbian because I haven't been having sex with men either. Okay, so now that we've had a couple of laughs, you know, in the spirit of 12-step recovery, if you're asked to speak, you say what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. And in the 1980s, in the early 1980s, I was at Arizona State University. I was recovering from my own Republican upbringing in the same state. And we were starting to see the beginnings of what would become known as the AIDS epidemic. And at this time, I was coming out as a young gay man, and I was studying communication, and I had people around me dying. And I have to say that I wouldn't be on this stage today if they had not taught me that the most important thing I had was my own voice, my own truth, and the ability to express it. And if you're here today, that means that you know that about yourself. And frankly, if it wasn't for ACT UP, I wouldn't be alive today, because the medications they fought for keep me alive today. And I have to say that for many years, I felt like we were moving forward and we were achieving the kind of world that we want to live in. And all of a sudden, we're gut punched. And I wanted to just crawl under a rock like many of us. And maybe we did that for a little while. Now, I had the opportunity to work with Joy and others almost 10 years ago. We gathered in Joy and Atma's living room. We planned our first action. And decades into this, I had the local media connections, and we had a lot of media show up at our very first action. So where are we now, and what can happen next? Just by curiosity, how many of you left Twitter-X? How many of you left Facebook? And how many of you are on Blue Sky? Okay, so I'm going to shock you as I wrap up by just saying I didn't leave, and now I'm giving Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg money, but I'm going to tell you why. Facebook restricted my ability to broadcast. I debated them, and I was turned down. The only way I could get the customer support to overturn that decision was to become a blue checkmark verified person, which I did. But by virtue of that, this very rally will broadcast into that space. The same with X. X requires now for people to broadcast live into that space that they are paid members. So this whole rally will broadcast into that space. We need to speak truth to power in spaces where we can be. And you think of the relief flights that drop supplies behind enemy lines. Well, this show is going behind enemy lines. In the months leading up to the election, Joy Silver co-hosted my political hot topics show with me. It's called the Snowstorm. And our focus was protecting democracy. And I am launching the Snowstorm again on Tuesday. And it was going to be about amplifying the resistance, but it is going to be broadcasting the resistance. Thank you very much.
Independent journalism. It's not the message, it's who gets to hear the message. It's how the story is told. How are we going to know the truth? We will look to people like Nicholas Snow. So let's hear it for independent journalism. Here it is. A native Chamorro from Guam, a volunteer with Gender Justice LA, and a community advisor for GLOW at Palm Springs High School, she's been the director of youth services at the Marsha P. Johnson Youth Drop-In Center in Palm Springs since January 2024. This service of the Transgender Health and Wellness Center is focused on young people struggling to feel secure in their gender identity. And we know that the haters want to blame trans people for every single problem they have. We will not let that stand. Help me welcome Renee Punzalan.
everybody. How are you today? Thank you. People's March in Palm Springs. I love you all. My name is Renee Ponzon. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And yes, I am an indigenous Chamorro trans woman from the unincorporated U.S. territory of Guam. We say Hafaday there, so Hafaday. That means what's up or how are you? So you can say it back too. You can say Hafaday. Thank you. So today I'm going to talk about body autonomy. I believe my journey for body autonomy began when I was about, I think 15, maybe earlier, 12. I walked out of the house in some short shorts and a crop top and went to high school. And teachers were like, you're going to have to change or you're going to have to go home. And I was like, so I went home. You know, I know it was a little bit much, you know, at that time. And as you can see, my attire has a little bit changed, you know. So, yeah, you know, I am a director of youth services at the Marsha P. Johnson LGBT Youth Plus Drop-In Center, at the Transgender Health and Wellness Center. So, you know, I'm in my good girl era, as you can say. So, and if you identify as trans, non-binary, gender diverse, or gender expansive, I see you and I love you and thank you for being here. I have two things to talk about today. First is that our struggles are the same. You know, the recent assaults on body autonomy, particularly regarding abortion access and reproductive health care, closely parallel the attacks on the rights of trans individuals, especially trans youth, to make decisions about their own bodies. Those who seek to force women to carry pregnancies resulting from sexual assault are the same individuals who want to prevent young trans men from transitioning, compelling them to retain their uteruses and conform to patriarchal expectations rather than being autonomous beings. They aim to force young trans women through puberties that misalign with their self-image, making them as different as contributing to their marginalization and fetishization. And yes, make no mistake, it is fetishization. The same right-wing politicians who publicly oppose trans and women's rights, and say there are two genders, only male and female, often exploit and abuse survivor sex workers, both trans and cisgender, as evident figures like, you know, Matt Gaetz. They engage in the abuse and trafficking of women and children, and they frequent alt-right forums like 4chan to discuss, you know, sex or transgender women, while simultaneously passing legislation aimed at erasing our existence. Their goal is not protection, but unrestrained access. They want us to exist as objects that can be easily controlled, and we're not going to be controlled. Hell no. And the second is that our struggles are not new. As someone from a colonized territory, I can attest that this fight has been ongoing since colonial patriarchy first reached our shores. People of color are disproportionately affected by anti-trans and anti-women violence. Approximately 85% of those lost to fatal transphobic violence are Black transgender women, just as our cisgender counterparts face disproportionate rates of violence, such as the Black femicide and the epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous women. By protecting the most marginalized among us, we ensure rights for all people. The only way to progress is by starting at the foundation. And this foundation is built on the global struggle for the rights of women and other marginalized genders, led by figures like Angela Davis, Bell Hooks, Judith Butler, and Leslie Feinberg. Yes, we all have been working alongside with you since the beginning. So join us in this fight. Support your sisters, your brothers, and your trans siblings, and take care of your community. Find ways to contribute and take action. Now is the time to decide. Do you want to be controlled, or do you want to be free? I love you. Thank you. Thank you, John. Renee, the people who have the courage. She was part of the Measure J committee and chair of Planned Parenthood right out here. And now she's city councilwoman, newly elected, Naomi Soto.
Good morning, Palm Springs. Thank you, Joy. Hello, my name is Naomi Soto. My pronouns are she, her, ella. I'm proud to serve as board president for Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest and to serve newly elected as mayor pro tem here in the city of Palm Springs. It is an honor to be here with so many people who are committed to the health and safety of our communities. Our liberation has always and will always be tied with each other's. And I'm grateful to be here fighting alongside each and every single one of you in this beautiful park on this beautiful January morning. I'm here today because I love this community. And like you, I want to continue to see it thrive. Over the last decade and a half, I've made this beautiful desert my home. Two little kids somewhere running around here are mine. I have worked across sectors and issue areas, but I always come back to the basic understanding that all people should have the right to make decisions about their health and their bodies, and that everyone should be able to access essential health care without shame, without stigma. In light of an impending second Trump administration, I am more committed than ever to make sure our communities are safe and accessible places to live, work, play, and thrive. At Planned Parenthood, we understand completely that the next 4 years will mean an increase in attacks on reproductive rights and access to abortion. Throughout the 2024 election, anti-abortion extremists organized efforts to shape public opinion. Disinformation, misinformation prevailed. It was everywhere, resulting in results that will be devastating for reproductive healthcare access for LGBTQ plus people, for immigrants, and for so many other important issues. Reproductive rights are facing difficult odds, but we are no strangers to hostile administrations or people trying to take us down. 2 years ago, when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, it created a new era of fear and uncertainty. As a direct result, in the last 2 years, abortion bans have increased throughout the whole country, with over 19 states and counting every single day, either restricting or completely banning abortion care. We know that abortion bans are straight up deadly. They worsen maternal mortality rates and put lives of too many women and people who could become pregnant at risk, unnecessary risk. And beyond abortion bans, reproductive rights and bodily autonomy, as Renee so eloquently described, are at risk everywhere, and that includes the right to gender-affirming healthcare. Many of the same states who have banned or have severely restricted abortion care are the same places that are introducing harmful and hateful legislation attacking our queer, trans, and non-binary neighbors, and restricting the access to care that they so desperately want and deserve. Much remains uncertain, that's true. Planned Parenthood will be here anyway. We were here in the 70s, we were here in the 80s, we're here anyway. And we will continue to fight for everyone's ability to make their own decisions for their health, their lives, and their futures. It's full scope sexual and reproductive health care that anyone should be able to exercise. Nobody should ever get to decide what we can do with our own bodies and to make the best decisions for our futures. We recognize now more than ever that we will fight for every single one of our patients, especially our Black, Indigenous, people of color, and our LGBTQ patients. These are the same communities that will rely on Planned Parenthood still to continue access to care. Planned Parenthood refuses to live in a country where anti-abortion politicians hold unchecked power, where they can dictate what we are going to do with our bodies. The future for all of us must include reproductive health care. I came here wearing many hats. We're president of Planned Parenthood, mayor pro tem, mother, friend, advocate, and I urge you all to recommit to this fight of the next 4 years. It is tiring, it is hard, it is exhausting, but it is also our very own futures we are fighting for. We must continue to dream, and we must believe it is possible, that this fight is not over and our work is not over. I'm so grateful and so proud to be here with you all. Thank you so much for being here. I'm with you.
Mayor Pro Tem of Palm Springs, Naomi Soto. She is the chief fiscal officer of the world's fifth largest economy. Her primary responsibility is to account for and protect the state's financial resources. Elected in 2022, following her term of service on the California Board of Equalization as the first African-American woman to serve on that board, and a firebrand when it comes to how she feels about things, please help me welcome State Controller Malia N. Cohen.
Thank you. Hello, Palm Springs. We need to come alive. Those folks at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue need to know that we are standing on business today. We didn't come to play. We are not going to sit out on the sidelines for the next 4 years, twiddling our thumbs, looking cute. We're going to work and look cute at the same time, because that's what we do. How are you today? I'm so excited to be here. I woke up very early this morning in San Francisco to come and join you, and I like your vibe. I like it. You guys are laying comfortably out in the sun on the lawn, looking good, glasses, yoga pants, everything. This is my speed. I feel like I found my tribe right here. But I bring you greetings from Northern California. And before we get any further into remarks, I want to just take a moment to remember those Angelinos that are suffering. Let's just take a moment of silence to remember those that have lost everything and those that have lost their life. And in this moment of silence, we ground ourselves for the fight that we are about to engage in. Now, you remember the mantra, we're not going. Oh, put some fire into it. We're not going. Because resistance is our mantra. That is why we are here on a Saturday morning, coming together as a community to remind ourselves that of which whom we fight for and what we fight for. So when you leave today, I don't want you to be confused. I don't want you to be dismayed. I want you to be uplifted. I want you to be clear-eyed. I want you to be focused and understand the assignment. We are here to resist. We are the front line. We are not going to go back. We are going to stand by our values. We are going to hold true to our convictions, and we are going to take names of those who try to bring us down. We are going to remember, and you know what? Speaking of remembering, we are going to dig deep and remember what life was like in 2016. We are all overcomers. We are here. We survived, and we will survive again. But it's going to take heart, it's going to take passion, it's going to take a plan. And that is why we are gathering here today, so that you walk away focused, you know what the plan is, you know where we're going, and most importantly, we leave no one behind. We're taking everyone with us. No one is being left behind. No transgender, no lesbian, no gay, no black, no Latino, no native, no Jew, no Gentile, no Palestinian. I can go on and on and on, because this is a community that is loving and embracing a big, broad tent. So are you with me? Let me tell you a little bit about who I am, because you probably are like, who is this? I know Joe said her name was something, Malia, I don't know. Let me tell you, my name is Malia Cohen. Don't let the last name fool you. That's another story for my brothers and sisters in the tribe who always want to know. There's a story there. You can buy me a drink. Thank you. But I grew up in San Francisco, humble beginning. My mother was a clinical child therapist. My father used to climb the telephone poles for AT&T, Mall Bell, Pac Bell. You remember the bells. I see some gray hairs in here. I am the eldest of 5 daughters. That's right. So when that whole catchphrase, the future is female, came out, you remember that one? I've been living that my whole life. The future is female and it's looking good. My mother is a retired now. She's a clinical child therapist. My father was a tech, worked in technology. He's retired now as well. And he's also a Vietnam vet. And I shout out to all of the veterans. I'm a mom as well. I'm a 4-year-old who for some reason crawled in the bed with us last night. And I didn't get much sleep today. All the moms and dads know what I'm talking about. The life and the vim and the vigor that this little 4-year-old girl has every single day is unbelievable. That's why I fight. That's why I'm not going to let Trump and his friends get me discouraged. It is a reminder when you look at every single child in your family on the street, in the parks, that is why we raise our voice. We put our fists in the air. That is why we fight. That is why we plan for the future, so that it is encompassing and bringing everyone together. I'm your state controller. You heard California, she's doing pretty well. She's the 5th largest economy in the world. I don't take credit in that. I just count all the coins. And I am not going to cheat you. I take taxpayers' money. I treat it better than I treat my own. With respect, I believe in transparency. I believe in honesty. And so when we start to think about what the future of California is going to look like in order to keep our economic standing, we know one thing: we need more of us, not less of us. We don't need billionaire oligarchs coming down telling us what to do and how to do. That's not what we're about. When we're talking about an economy that's thriving and booming, we're talking about big picture, broad tent. We're talking about everyone has an opportunity and something to contribute to the world. California, she's in a fortunate position. We have these fires now, so we are going to have to revisit our books. And we're going to have to make some tough decisions to help those in Southern California and those that are in Los Angeles, Altadena, Pasadena area. I want to ask that you send the moments and good energy, thoughts, and prayers to our leader, Governor Newsom, Mayor Karen Bass. Those two warriors are on the front line taking the heat. The bush from the Republican Party. They are being criticized as they are trying to help heal a community, to bridge the gap, because people have lost everything. So keep them in mind. Leading is not easy. How am I doing? Great. You want more? Yeah. All right, I'll give you some more. When we're talking about, when we focus about the controller's office, the controller and the treasurer are fiscal agencies for the state of California. The controller's office is responsible for the disbursement of money. Do we have any state employees, any retirees? You are welcome. I sign your paycheck and yours and yours. Judges, CSU, UC, professors, retirees, teachers, these are all state employees. The controller is responsible for the disbursement of that. That's a fancy way of saying I write your check. The treasurer is interesting because the treasurer is the state's banker. That's the money that comes in to the state's coffers, okay? So she's responsible for deep relationships with banks, investing in the money. Between the two of us, her name is Fiona Ma. Between the two of us, we got the state of California covered. You got an Asian woman, a daughter of immigrants, and then hey, you got a black woman right here. But what you have also are two people that have the joy and the stamina to continue to give and give to you, to serve you. There are resources available to anyone that knows someone that has been affected by the fire. I welcome you to come to the state controller's website. We've got FAQs on the site to where you can get information. Questions like, do I still pay my mortgage if I've lost my fire? She says no. The bank say yes, but you petition your individual bank. I'm a renter. I lost my home. Do I still need to pay rent? No, you don't. My rented home was in the fire. It's a little bit damaged, but it's still inhabitable. Do I still pay my rent? Yes, you do. So these are 3 just examples of some details that we know people may be dealing with. Please encourage them to go to the Franchise Tax Board. Please encourage them to go to the website of the State Controller's Office, or you can go to the Department of Finance. The information is out there. I want to make sure that people have it, those that are in need, that they have it. All right, I'm going to get off this stage, but I want to leave on a high note. I want you to stand up and get on your feet, and I want everybody in Washington, D.C. that are freezing their asses off to know how good we got it right here. I want them to hear us. Let me hear that thunderous roar. Let me hear it. Let me hear it. I want to feel it. You hear that? That is the sound of the resistance. That is the sound of that patriarchy crumbling. That is the sound of change coming. Thank you. Thank you. Do not be discouraged. Thank you very much. Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. We will not be invisible. We will be indivisible. We will not be cowards or crazy. Well, we'll be a little crazy, but we will be courageous because we are the courageous resistance. Please sign up, stand up. We're standing up for the fight, and we will be seen and we will be heard. Thank you very much for coming out.
In a safe place, I got room to breathe. Been a long chase, but at last I'm free. These open woods, I knew I could find peace here. Nothing like the city where I got tired of the running, the catching up. I got hungry for the stunning high mountain tops. Some dreams to catch, to promised lands, to find my path, see the planet from greater heights. I have found a place out of time and space, far from city lights, up on greater heights. See the blue sky, feel the wind that blows. Get the rush in, heaven only knows. I'm all alone, still I far from lonely. On a journey, on a